Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Word in the House Ministries. I'm Andrea Joyce, and I'm so excited that you're here with me today. So, we're going to get right into it. We are going to be discussing the Love series. The Love series is going to follow 1 Corinthians 13 from verse 4 to verse 8, all the clauses in between. And so today we start with love is patient, which is the first clause. Love is patient is 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4, the A clause. It is the first thing that is discussed when we're talking about love. And why are we talking about love? Because in every area of our lives, there's love, whether it's in our families, in our friendships, in our romantic relationships, in our marriages, and even just casual acquaintances and businesses. There's sometimes love there. Some people have love for their coworkers or their supervisors. And because we keep spouting this word love, because we keep throwing love out everywhere, it is time that we actually talk about what real love is. Here's the problem: there's so many people who use the word love and they don't mean love. Some people might mean like, attracted to, lust. You have something I have want or need of, and I want to get it from you. And it's time now, especially with it looking like there is a war of the sexes, men against women, women against men. So much downgrading and talking down to each other and disrespecting each other. There's so much of it on social media that I just was led. This is not just me being led because of my emotions, but God led to talk about love again. Because I've done the love series several times. However, God gave it differently to me this time. And what was crazy about it is as I was studying love, I realized there are changes in my life I need to make in regards to love. There are different things that I need to do. There's different attitudes and behaviors. There's different ways I need to move. So not only are you studying, I'm studying. Not only are you learning, I'm learning. So we're doing this together. And I think it's so important because love is what is making this world what it is. Without love, you have nothing. God is love. So if God is love and we're to be like God, we need to have love in our lives. But it needs to be a healthy, healed, or healing, godly love, a love that's real, not just spouting it with our mouths, but showing it with our actions, actually sitting in it. And even though I talked about family love, brotherly love, friendship, um, associations, business, and all different manners of where love is, I'm really going to be focused on romantic love, the love between a man and a woman, the marital love, the marriage love, the boyfriend girlfriend love, and the fiance love. And yes, I know that someone is going to say somewhere, well, the Bible doesn't talk about being boyfriend and girlfriend. Well, we're not in those times, we are in present day times. And the Bible is one thing for real, and that is a living word. That means you can take that word that was written over 2,000 years ago and bring it into today's society. You can bring it where you are right here, right now, and it's still relevant. So even though the Bible may not talk about a specific boyfriend and girlfriend, there was a place and time where people were getting to know each other and they were courting. They were getting to know each other for marriage. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to just be testing out people, and if this shoe don't fit, let's move on to the next. You really were supposed to be in a headspace of, I want to settle down, and this is the person I want to settle down with. One of the things my kids and I used to talk about when they were younger were the different definitions in relationships, the dating with purpose, the dating exclusively, the monogamy, because it's different. Dating exclusively is different than monogamy in a relationship, because we may not be in a relationship. It's too much. We have justified and overextended and stretched what we're supposed to be doing. We have gotten to a point where it makes no sense now. I'm not here to judge. What you do is what you do. However, I'm going to keep it Bible with you. I am going to talk, but what I talk about is justified by scripture, not because I'm not feeling somebody today, or because I want to step out on a commitment I made, or because what you want is making me grow up and mature. So I'm going to fight against you. I'm not doing any of that. I am talking about what's in the Bible. And because of that, if you have your Bibles available, I want you to turn it to Genesis, the 29th chapter. We're going to talk about the story of Rachel and Jacob. And we're going to get to it in a minute. But before we do, there's some things I want to say to you first. Real love is not rushed. It does not jump at the first hello or run at the first goodbye. It waits for God's timing and gives space for truth to reveal itself. Patience is what love looks like when you have not been chosen the way you want, yet you still refuse to force, beg, or perform. Andrea, what do you mean by that? What I want to say is real love, because we're not talking about an itch that needs to be scratched. We're not talking about lust. We're not talking about convenience. We're not talking about a bargaining chip. We're not talking about some contract where love is not involved. I'm talking about real love. This is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, and not because they're convenient, not because they're comfortable, not because you don't have any other options, not because your libido is going wild. No, I'm talking about what is in your heart, your mind, and your soul. So you need to understand that love is an action word. It means that it's always supposed to be exercised. It's always supposed to be utilized. You're always supposed to be using it, doing it, feeling it, learning about it, and incorporating it in your day to day. And when I say day to day, I'm talking about romantic relationships. I'm not talking about anything else. That is my sole focus. So that means even though you love someone, it doesn't stop there. Love grows, love expands, love gets deep. So you have to be willing to grow, to mature, to get deep, just like love does. When you're with the person you have decided is going to be your person, whether you choose to date them for the rest of their lives, whether you decide to be engaged for the rest of your lives, or you decide, I have found the one I want to say I do to, and we're taking it to marriage. Of course, I am a proponent of marriage. You know that. I want to get married. I want everybody to get married, but I don't want you to get married for the sake of being married. I don't want you to get married for the sake of the wedding and not taking any action in getting to know the person and actually building a relationship that can last through eternity and turn into your lifelong commitment. Here's something I want to say. And you know, I've talked about this previously. The 4 stages of love. That's what I call them. They're the seasons of love. Just like the weather, there's a spring season of love, there's a summer season of love, there's a fall season of love, and then there's a winter season of love. And I like to say that in the spring season of love, that's when you first meet. You're meeting this person, and there's something about them, something that caught your eye, something that just refreshed you. You're with this person, they're different. They stand out, and you want to get to know them better. You want to stay on the phone with them all day and all night. You hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Okay, let's talk for a little bit longer. And you wind up falling on asleep together. See, that's not just kid stuff. That happens for adults in real love. And you have that season where you have on your rose colored glasses and everything is new and fresh and wonderful. And you talk about them 24/7. There's nothing they can't do. They're the best thing since sliced bread. They're everything. They're just, oh, I could just drink their bath water. They just, oh. Then you have the summer season of love. And now time has gone on. Love has matured. You're now feeling the fire, that passion. Sometimes the passion is good, sometimes the passion isn't, because that might be where you have your real first throwdown, knockdown argument. You might, and again, you may not. But this is where the passions are arise. It's getting hot now. Everything is like, who? Let me include them in this decision. Let me talk to them about that. Let me put them into my 10-year plan. Let me consider their feelings. Everything is about the two of you making it to the next level. And it's fun. It's good. Sometimes it's not fun. It's passionate, though. That's where your heart really and truly opens up and says, I'm ready with this person. Now, do we always get it right? No. So I don't want you to beat yourself up when you say, I've been in a spring season with someone, I've been in a summer season with somebody, and it fizzled out in the summer season. It's okay, because you're getting to know each other. You're getting to learn each other. I say the real test, though, comes in the fall season of your relationship. See, it starts to cool off. That passion, that newness wears off. Now you get to see the person for who they really are. You think the hair that she had on was her hair. Next thing you seeing her take it off like a hat, or it's a weave. You see that the hair you thought he had, that lustrous black, gorgeous hair, is not real. He really has a George Jefferson, but the barber is helping him to maintain the black color and the patches that are missing. You find out the 32 teeth you thought they had is really 12 teeth. You find out that now the house that used to be impeccable, spotless, that you went to, now has dishes in the sink and crumbs on the stove, and the floor needs to be swept. And you really got that much stuff? How come when I used to come by, it was like this, but now it's like a different house. You're a different person now. The representative has left the building. See, we have a representative when we meet people in romantic relationships, business relationships, friendships, blah, blah, blah. We have this person that stands in our stead to show people the best side of us. We don't want people to see the worst side of us in the beginning, because we're getting to know them. So we perform. We put on this mask. We put on this face that says, hey, I wake up happy every morning. Hey, I don't mind cooking meals 7 days a week. I don't mind cleaning up every single day. I don't mind calling you a billion times, a million times. I don't mind buying you flowers every single day. I don't mind taking your car to get washed and cleaned and detailed every 2 weeks. I don't mind doing anything for you because I love you and I could drink your bath water. Well, in the fall season, it's, look, I'm not cooking tonight. You're going to order some takeout. We're going to heat up some leftovers. I'm not feeling it tonight. The person who was taking you out dancing all of a sudden doesn't want to go dancing. I'm tired. I just worked a 12-hour shift. Can I just sit down and watch the game? Can we just chill and watch a movie? Can we just relax? The person who woke up with such energy and such a life giving energy is now like, yo, listen, calm down. I'll talk to you after my first 3 cups of coffee. You're now seeing the person for who they really are. And this is the best test of, is this someone I want to go to the next level with? Because you get to see who they are, not who they pretended to be. And a lot of decisions can be made here. But my suggestion is to wait till all 4 seasons go past. Because that last season, the winter season, is really the biggest test in a relationship. This is the season where people may have lost, where they may have depression, where they're sad when reality kicks them in the butt, where they may have to face life changing decisions, where things are not golden, where things are not sunshiny, everything. They may not have opportunities, doors may be closing all around them. And two things take place: how they behave during this time and how you behave during this time. Has your honey bunny lost his job now? And now you're seeing a different man than you saw in the spring, the summer, and the fall all combined. Now he doesn't want to go out. He doesn't want to talk. He's angry. He's bitter. He's depressed. He's down. And he's throwing shots. He's taking shots at you. He's saying things to you he's never said in a tone he's never used with you. And you sitting here like, has he bumped his head? I'm here to support. So how do you handle his negativity? How do you handle the blows that are coming against you when this is the man whom you fell in love with 3 seasons ago? How do you handle when she is going through menopause? How do you handle her knowing she can no longer have children? How do you handle when she has hot flashes or when she snaps out because she's so uncomfortable in her skin and in her body? She doesn't mean it, but she's angry. She's irritated. She's irritable. How about when she has her regular cycle? How do you handle those things? How do you handle the loss of parents or finding out your parent has cancer or Alzheimer's? How does it handle when you have to sacrifice time with your boo to spend time with parents that need you now like you needed them? What happens when the money runs out and you don't know where your next check is coming from? How are you going to pay this bill? How do you handle it individually? Him going through it, her going through it. And then how do you handle being in their life at that time? Are you unselfish and empathetic? Or are you like, I don't want to deal with that? He's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. She's Dr. Jekyll, Miss Hyde. I don't want to deal with that. That's not what I signed up for. Or do you say, you know what? I'm walking this life with you. I'm not against you. So I'm going to give you a moment to breathe. But when you get yourself together, when you get your feelings together, when you get your emotions together, I'm here for you. Do you send over food for them because you know they're really not eating? Are you sending her flowers because you know she's really sad? Are you there for them in the quiet to let them know I am an ever present presence in your life? Or do you bail on them? Do you say, nah, my health is more important, my welfare is more important, I'm out? Are you a runner? Or do you stand? See, these are things that you have to go through. And I want to say this: unlike the weather, the seasons may not come in order. Unlike the weather, seasons may last longer than 3 months. They can last a year, 2 years. Only time will reveal who a person really is. And that's why patience is important. It's not just important for getting to know somebody, but understanding who they are and allowing them when they make mistakes, some mistakes, because every mistake I'm not going to tell you you got to take, because there's some things people do willingly and knowingly because they don't give a rat's behind about how you feel. They don't consider your feelings. They're selfish and self-centered. It's about them and their joy. It's about them and what they want. And it doesn't consider you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when they make a mistake for real and they're repentant. They're not arrogant. They don't force the situation. We'll talk about that later on in the weeks, but we are going to address a little bit of it today. I want you to keep an open mind as we're discussing love, the different characteristics, the different kinds, the different elements of love. And I want you to consider these things in your current dating, romantic relationship, your marriage. I want you to, I'm not giving you gospel like Andrea knows everything because I just told you, as you're learning, I'm learning. I realize that I have healing to do, and I realize there are things I did not even know about love. I realized that I used the word love just like I used the word good morning. And I wasn't really in love because when I looked at what you had to have in love, I was like, I didn't do that. I didn't want to do that. Oh no, that wasn't me. Well, girl, then you were not in real love. However, because I'm learning what it is, because I'm understanding now how myself has to change, how I have to heal, how I was wrong in relationships. Now I have an opportunity to get it right. Now I have an opportunity to really fall in love and be in love and exhibit love and show love and let love grow within me. Now I have an opportunity to be the woman who I've always said I was. And I realized, maybe not. Maybe you weren't her. You all right, but let's get better. And with that, let's start at Genesis verse 29. I'm sorry, chapter 29, verse 1. Then Jacob hurried on, finally arriving in the land of the east. He saw, he saw a well in the distance. 3 flocks of sheep and goats lay in an open field beside it, waiting to be watered. But a heavy stone covered the mouth of the well. It was the custom there to wait for all the flocks to arrive before removing the stone and watering the animals. Afterward, the stone would be placed back over the mouth of the well. Jacob went over to the shepherds and asked, "Where are you from, my friends?" "We are from Haran," they answered. "Do you know a man there by the name of Laban, the grandson of Nahor?" he asked. "Yes, we do," they replied. "Is he doing well?" Jacob asked. "Yes, he's well," they answered. "Look, here comes his daughter Rachel with the flock now." Jacob said, "Look, it's still broad daylight, too early to round up the animals. Why don't you water the sheep and goats so that they can get back out to pasture?" "We can't water the animals until all the flocks have arrived," they replied. Then the shepherds moved, then the shepherds moved the stone from the mouth of the well, and water all the sheep and goats. Jacob was still talking with them when Rachel arrived with her father's flock, for she was a shepherd. And because Rachel was his cousin, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and because the sheep and goats belonged to his uncle Laban, Jacob went over to the well and moved the stone from its mouth and watered his uncle's flock. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept aloud. He explained to Rachel that he was her cousin on her father's side, the son of her aunt Rebekah. So Rachel quickly ran and told her father Laban. As soon as Laban heard that his nephew Jacob had arrived, he ran out to meet him. He embraced and kissed him and brought him home. When Jacob had told him his story, Laban explained, "You really are my own flesh and blood." Okay, I wanted to give you background before we get into it. Jacob had left his home because remember, Jacob tricked Esau out of his birthright. He pretended to be Esau and received the blessing of his father. Because of this, Esau wanted to kill him. Rebekah caught wind of what her son, her oldest twin, wanted to do to his brother. And because Esau wanted to kill Jacob, Rebekah told him, "Go to my brother, run, get away before Esau comes after you and kills you." So Jacob left. Now remember, in all of this, Jacob is a trickster. His mama is too. You know how they say, "I get it from my mama." Well, Rebekah helped him to trick his father. He helped him to get the birthright and the blessing that Esau rightly deserved. So now he's in peril. He's running for his life. and he happens upon the place where he was sent to be. Don't you love how sometimes you'll go on a mission and you don't know how you're going to get to the end, the journey. You don't know how you're going to do it. You don't have the money to do it. You may not have the connections to do it. You may not have the resources. But God sends you to the very place you need to be. You don't know how it's all going to work out. You don't know the end of the story, but you find yourself in position, in the place that you are supposed to be. I want you to think about that, because there's sometimes we run, there's sometimes we leave, there's sometimes we go, and it's all us. God didn't tell us to leave. God didn't tell us to run. God didn't tell us to go, but the atmosphere got a little hot and it was more uncomfortable. And because we were not patient, because we did not wait on God, we moved, we ran. And even though some things worked out, a majority of the things didn't. And then you go to God and say, Lord, why is it so hard here? Why isn't it easy? Why are things not going the way I want them to? And he's like, I didn't tell you to leave. Now I need you to go back where you were and deal with the things that you need to deal with in that place. But then there are times when God says, go, leave, move, and you're obedient to it. Now, I would love to tell you, when you obey God, everything falls into line. There are no hardships, there are no issues, there's no trouble, there's no problems. I'd be lying to you. Because even though God tells you to go, even though God tells you to move, even though God tells you to do, there's still going to be opposition. Why? Because the enemy doesn't want you to win. Do you think just because you obey God, troubles go away? No. If I'm to be honest with you, when you obey God, more troubles come, but you have more grace to deal with them because you got God's grace. So it may not be easy for you in some places. It may not feel comfortable for you sometimes, but all you got to do is give it to God. It's not as easy as it sounds. Oh, I know. Oh, trust me, I know. But boy, it's so much more satisfying when you get that blessing. It's so much more appealing than anything you could think, ask, imagine, or dream about. God's blessings are bigger than anything you think. You could ask God for $20 and out of nowhere $200 comes. See, that's how good God is. That's how gracious and merciful he is. And so I'm saying this because Jacob was running for his life. If his brother had caught up to him or captured him at the time he was angry, he would have killed Jacob, and this story wouldn't be in the Bible. Jacob would have no lineage, no children, no nations underneath him. There would be no bloodline, as we continue to read further on, that came from Jacob's lineage. So it was important for him not to die. It was important for him not to be killed. So he had to run. He had to go until the trouble was taken care of. See, he listened to God. He heard God. God said, go, because you can't be in the place that you used to be because there's trouble there. And I'm talking to somebody today. You want to go back to your birthplace. You want to go back to the town that you grew up in. You want to go back to old habits. You want to go back to your old way of doing things. You want to go back to your old friends, your old crew, your old clique. And you've changed. God has given you grace to be a different person with different ideals, with a different assignment, with different missions, with different information, with different wisdom. You want to go back to the old way that it was. And God is saying, if you go back, you're surely going to die. You may not physically die, but your money's going to die. Those friendships are going to cause you to make wrong decisions. You're going to be doing the same thing you were doing before the healing, before the changes, before the maturity, Before the growth, you're going to go back to your old ways. And God doesn't want your old ways in your new situation. What's that scripture? Don't pour new wine into old wine skins. Because then it's no longer new wine. It takes on the characteristic of the old wine in the old wineskin. So God wants something new for you, different for you. So if he moves you, leave those old attitudes behind. Leave those old ways of doing things behind. Jacob was a trickster before this. He couldn't take his trickster's ways with him where he was going. He couldn't take his get over attitude with him because that's what got him in trouble in the first place. Why would God release you from a thing for you to go do it somewhere else? You had old habits. Maybe you were an alcoholic. Maybe you were a drug addict. Maybe you were a womanizer. Maybe you were a liar. Maybe you were a thief. And God gives you a way to escape all the bad stuff that you did and sends you somewhere new. Why would you pick up the old habits he released you from? He's giving you a new lot on life, but you want to bring in old characteristics, old friends, old habits, old places. You used to hang out all night. Now God has given you a new situation. You want to hang out all night. You used to snort, sniff, shoot up, smoke, inhale, whatever. God released you from that, moved you to a new situation, and you want to bring them old habits right back. God is saying, why did I remove you from death to give you life for you to bring death with you? Think about it. We don't think about it all the time. God gives us a new situation, a new way of doing things, a new environment, a new atmosphere, new people, new situations. And we're still the same old person doing the same old scheming, trying to get over, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. We're still that person? No. See, here's what this story teaches us. Jacob was a trickster who got tired of being a trick. He got tired of his old ways. If you read his story, not just this scripture, but continue to read his story, you will see that Jacob transforms to a totally different person, so much so that God changes his name. He changes his name from Jacob to Israel. Because he said, you are going to be not like Abraham, the father of all, but you are going to father this nation. Abraham was father of all. He said, Jacob, because you've changed, because you've accepted the transformation for your life, I'm no longer going to call you Jacob. I'm going to call you Israel. And we know Israel was God's people. And nations, 12 nations were born under Israel. His sons became nations, each individual son, because he dared to leave behind his old mindset, his old ways, his old thoughts, his old tricks, his old friends, his old environment, his old way of doing things. He left it behind. So you, with your new attitude, your new environment, your new atmosphere, your new situation, your new destiny, your new journey, why do you still have old mindsets? Let go of your past. You have to. Yeah, there are going to be people who bring up who you used to be. I'm guilty of doing that sometimes, and I got to slap my hand and be like, that person is different. Let it go. You can't say that. But you yourself live in your past. Oh, when I was 15, I was the man on the block. Yo, when I was 20, I had 20 different women every night. That's an old mindset. Who you used to be. You are no longer that person. I hope. I'm praying that God gave you a new situation, a new thought, a new opportunity, and you're now that person. I'm hoping. So when he does, don't go back to who you used to be. Don't allow people to call you your past. You used to be a crackhead. Don't let them call you a crackhead. You used to be a liar. Don't let them call you a liar. And when they start bringing up those things, say, hey, ho, ho, whoa. Yeah, I messed up back then. You're right. But I'm new now. I'm different now. I've changed now. And if they can't accept who you are now, snip, 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 cut them off. Because no one has the right to continually drag you through your past, to continually drag you through your mud, your bad decisions, no, not when God has forgiven you. And you know, it's real cute. People on social media says, God may have forgiven you. I didn't. That's their right. But you cut them out your life because you don't allow them to continue to put you down and drag you down when you know God forgave you and has given you a new life. Those are the people you cut. Okay, you can't forgive me. I've apologized. I've done all I can do. We need to break ways. How do you think Esau feels right now? Jacob pooped on him, stole from him. Big, major, because it was a major thing to get your father's birthright and your father's blessing. The biggest things a parent could do for a child in Bible days. Heck, it's big now when you leave life insurance and a will for your kids. But we'll talk about that as time goes on. So Jacob took the biggest thing he could from his brother. So how do you think Esau feels? You think he ain't rehearsing Jacob's mess? You don't think he's talking to Mrs. Esau and his parents? That Jacob, when I get him, I'm going to kill him. I can't believe he stole my birthright. The next day, that Jacob is a weasel. He stole my blessing. The next day, Jacob, 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 Jacob. Yeah, he's rehearsing and he's pissed. The biggest blessing, and now he can't get it. There is no getting the birthright again. Once it's given, it's given. There's no getting the blessing of your father again. It's over. So people have done things to you that have been the biggest thing that they could have done to you, or you've done things to people that is the biggest thing you could have done to them, the biggest hurt, the biggest harm, the biggest whatever. You can't take it back. Contrary to public opinion, you cannot make up anything to anybody. If you messed up on them, this is church, Andrea. If you messed over a person, you can never make it up to them. But what you can do is do better. But you can't how can you make it up? It's already happened. It's in my memory. It's filed away. It's there. You can't erase that memory. You can't erase it from happening. It's happened. But you can try to never do it again. If I give you an opportunity to be in my life again. Because contrary to public opinion, forgiveness and reconciliation are two totally different things. Yeah, I keep talking about it because people keep likening reconciliation with forgiveness. Forgiveness means I release you from what you did to me. But it does not mean I'm going to keep you around. It doesn't mean I'm going to give you a second chance. It doesn't mean I'm going to allow you into my space. It doesn't mean I'm going to break bread with you. That's not what forgiveness means. Forgiveness means I release you from what you did to me. Reconciliation is I am going to bring us back together. I am going to allow you back into my life. I'm going to keep you in my life. Two totally different things. And we'll talk about that because remember, there is another love series. I mean, the same love series, but there's another element that I talked about a month ago. and we're going to revisit it because I got new information just that quick. But let's get into it because time is, I'm sorry that I had to go to the left, but someone needed to hear. Don't bring your old habits into your new situation. Just like don't bring what people did to you and hurt you in the past into your new relationship. We'll talk about that. Give the person an absolutely clean slate. Even if they do things that remind you of what your ex did, they're not your ex. Give them the opportunity to do whatever it is they're going to do. And then you base your feelings, reactions, emotions off of what they do, not what your ex did. Okay, we'll talk about that another time because I could go. Ooh, this will be a 3-hour session, but let's go. As we look into Genesis, we see that patience is demonstrated in verses 18 through 30. I want you to read 18 through 30 on your own time. I just want to give you a couple of points about having patience, okay? And why patience and love is so important. All right, let's go. Number 1, having patience gives you information. Having patience gives you information. Let's start at verse 19. Agreed. Laban replied, I'd rather give her to you than to anyone else. Okay, so what we've missed in the verses between 14 and 19 is that Laban says, I don't feel comfortable having you work for me. What do you want your wage to be? Jacob says, I want to marry Rachel. I'm in love with Rachel. Rachel is everything to me. I want to build a life with her. Okay, he doesn't say all of that, but it's inferred. That's the person. That's my person. That's who I want. Verse 19, Laban says, agreed. I'd rather give her to you than to anyone else. Stay and work with me. Verse 23 says, but that night, when it was dark, Laban took Leah to Jacob and he slept with her. Verse 25, but when Jacob woke up in the morning, it was Leah. What have you done to me? Jacob raged at Laban. I worked 7 years for Rachel. Why have you tricked me? Verse 26. It's not our custom here to marry off a younger daughter ahead of the firstborn. So here's what happened in a nutshell. We have information because when you take your time, information will be given. Remember, I talked about the 4 seasons of love? In that time, you will get information about a person, especially in the fall season of a relationship, because that's when the representative goes away, the mask comes off, the performance and the pretense are out the door, and you truly get to see who the person is. Mind you, remember, we all change. So who you see in that season may not be who you see a year or 2 later. Keep it in mind that they'll be changing just like you'll be changing. And you want to change together. You want to accept who they are becoming. You don't want to grow apart. You want to grow together. That's why communication is important. And let me just say this right here, right now. I know y'all tired of hearing of me. I made this post a couple of days ago and it had 3 words: hear, listen, comprehend. I can never hold my finger all the way back. Hear, listen, comprehend. Hear a person. Have communication with your significant other. But when you're having conversation, important dialogue, 2-way street, right? Dialogue, conversations, 2 people talking and 2 people listening. And here's why it's important to hear, because you want to hear what's actually being said and what is left unsaid. You want to hear the pieces that are there and you want to hear the missing pieces. You want to listen to exactly the words that are coming out of their mouth without you preparing to respond. A lot of people listen with the intention of what they're going to say, so they don't even hear what the person is actually saying. Have you ever been in a heated discussion with someone? We won't call it an argument. And you have poured out your heart, and then they come back with a response that has nothing to do with what you just said, they didn't hear your words and they weren't listening. They were listening to respond to what they wanted to say the entire time. In their head, they're rehearsing. Okay, as soon as he shuts up, I'm going to say this. As soon as she finishes, I'm going to say this because I got to get this out. I got to get her told. I got to give them a piece of my mind. I ain't no punk. I ain't no sucker. You ain't going to talk to me like this. This is what they are in their heads doing instead of listening to you. Meanwhile, you have said, I would like it if before you make a decision, you think about my feelings. You consider how it's going to affect me. But you come in, and the next time that I do this, it's going to be like, and you're sitting there like, what are you talking about? I just asked you to consider me. I asked you to think about my feelings. What are you talking about? That's not what I said. Then they catch an attitude on top of the attitude they already had because now you're telling them they're wrong. Ooh, a person don't like to hear being told that they're wrong. We're going to leave that for another day because I promise you, in love, we're going to have this conversation. But then the third point, comprehension. Comprehend, understand. So not only are you hearing the words coming out of their mouths and the words missing, you're listening to the actual words, the actual tone, the actual nuances. Then you're understanding, comprehending. She said, before I make a decision, I consider her feelings. I consider her thoughts. I consider her. Light bulb. I comprehend and understand what it is she wants from me. Now, let me hold that in before I open my mouth to start talking. Let me take it in and let me just ask her, did I hear you say that you want me to just think about you first, consider you first, maybe even call you and discuss it with you, or wait till I come home, and talk to you about it before I give them a yes or a no? Touchdown. You got it. You're absolutely right. That's exactly what I said. And look how you have taken the fire out of that heated discussion, because now they've been heard. And if you are anything like me, the number one thing I want to be is heard. Hear me. Hear my mind, thoughts, hear my heart, feelings. Mind, thoughts, heart, feeling. Hear me. Don't overtalk me. Don't cut me off. Don't try to play the blame game and deflect. No, let's talk. Let's communicate, even if it's uncomfortable. It's never comfortable being told you're wrong. It's never comfortable being critiqued or criticized. But when it's done in love, with love, for love, it's necessary. God corrects those he loves. The Bible says chastens. He corrects those he loves. If God didn't correct you, that means he didn't love you. He just let you do whatever you want to do willy-nilly and be a fool. But God comes in and says, that's not the right thing. And a person who loves you, real love, in love with you, is not going to allow you to have your crown tilted or allow your slip to show. They're going to correct you. They're going to criticize. They're going to critique. And that's something I had to learn, because unfortunately, I had people in my life who wanted to criticize, and it had nothing to do with because they loved me. They wanted to embarrass me. But then again, I had people in my life who did love me, who I didn't even allow to criticize me because it felt like rejection. And we'll talk about that we got weeks. When I tell you this is going to be a whole healing process, This is going to be a learning process. We're going to do better because we're going to get better and be better, and we're going to receive better. Okay, let's get back to it. Having patience gives you information. So now Jacob gets information. He gets information, work for me 7 years. He gets information, I'll let you marry Rachel. He gets information, the woman I slept with last night was not Rachel. That was somebody I did not want. And then Laban admits, oh, well, it's our custom that the youngest daughter can't get married before the oldest daughter. Point 2. Having patience grants you transformation. Having patience grants you transformation. And this transformation didn't come in Jacob. It didn't come in Leah. It didn't come in Rachel. It came in Laban. Verse 28 says, so Jacob agreed to work 7 more years. A week after Jacob had married Leah, Laban gave him Rachel too. Now, where's the transformation? Let's go back up. Work for me 7 years, I'll give you Rachel. Jacob worked for Laban 7 years. Laban gave him Leah. Laban was a trickster. He tricked the ultimate trickster. He tricked Jacob, because remember, Jacob running from his home because he tricked his brother. And they talk about karma, right? They talk about what you plant, you will receive, right? The reaping and the sowing. Here, the trickster is getting tricked. But not only that, Laban himself has to change because he lied. He lied to Jacob. He tricked Jacob. Now, I don't know about you, but when someone lies to me, it's very hard for me to trust them again. It's hard for me to believe they're going to do what they say they're going to do. So in this part, Laban transforms from a liar to an honest person. So that's why sometimes in relationship, we have to have patience to allow someone the opportunity to change, to transform, to be different. Because just because he used to hang out with his boys all night long and not come home until midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, there may be an opportunity where he transforms and he comes home straight from work. We have to give people an opportunity to grow, to mature, to change, to consider you, to consider the relationship, to be considerate of your feelings. We'll get deeper into this, but this is where patience is demonstrated. When they make a mistake, when there's a problem, where there's an issue, we give them the grace and the room to make a change. Okay, point 3. Having patience garners you gratification. Having patience garners you gratification. Okay, so verse 28 says, so Jacob agreed to work 7 more years. And here's where his gratification came in. Laban gave him Rachel too. Verse 30 says, so Jacob slept with Rachel too, and he loved her much more than Leah. Gratification. He worked 7 years for the woman he loved, 7 years for the woman he wanted to marry, 7 years for his person, 7 years he worked and was tricked out of being with her. Instead of walking away, instead of throwing a tantrum, instead of boo-hoo crying, instead of complaining, instead of giving up, he said, I'm going to trust you. Even though you tricked me, even though you lied to me, I'm not going to run. And this is where I want to say, real love does not jump at the first goodbye. What that means is the first opportunity where something goes wrong, the first opportunity someone drops the ball, the first opportunity when someone lies to you, deceives you, betrays you, hurts you, invalidates you, talks over you, cuts you off, hurts your feelings, breaks your heart, plays with your mind, plays games, at that first opportunity, you can say goodbye. You don't have to give them a second chance. They're not required to get that from you. Patience in love says, I'm going to give you a second, third, fourth, whatever. It's up to you. I'm not judging you. It's on you. Opportunity to get it right. And Jacob demonstrated that, because when Laban said, work for me another 7 years, wait for the wedding week to be over, I'll give you Rachel, he could have walked away. You lied. I'm going to take this chick right here that I don't like, and I'm going to move on. Go on about my way, because I can't trust you. You already showed who you were. You showed you were a trickster. You showed you were a liar. You showed that you couldn't be trusted. You showed that you had no thought of my feelings or my intentions or my goals or my dreams. So I'm going to walk away. Jacob didn't do that. And it's not because he didn't have any options, because he couldn't go back home. We know that, but he could have moved on. But instead, he said, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I am going to stay here. I'm going to wait here and see if you're going to be a man of your word this time. Laban transformed and did exactly what he said he was going to do, exactly what he vowed, exactly what he promised. And because of Jacob's patience, Jacob got what he wanted. Patience garnered him gratification, because all he wanted was Rachel. He got the woman he wanted, and it was because of him having patience. Sometimes in relationships, patience garners you gratification. Not every time, but a lot of the time, when you wait, you pray, you move on with your life. You focus on your job, your businesses, your dreams, your goals, and you allow God to work on that person. You allow that person to work on themselves. You'll see, wait a minute. I used to have to beg him to take out the trash. Now he takes out the trash without me asking. I used to ask her to wash dishes every night and not leave them in the sink. And you mean she's not leaving them in the sink anymore? I asked him to close the toilet seat. Now the toilet seat is closed. I asked her to pick up the clothes, and now the clothes are being picked up. I asked her not to go off on me in public. If we got a problem, wait till we get to the house to discuss it. And now she's doing it. Everyone changes at their own pace. Let me take that back. Most people change at their own pace, because there's some people who don't change. They don't want to change. They will never change. They feel comfortable in the skin they're in, and there's nothing wrong with them, and they're not going to make any changes. So I take that back. Forgive me. Some people change, and those people who change at their own pace when they're ready to change. You can't force them. You can't bully them. You can't threaten them. You can't manipulate them. You can't gaslight them. You can't do anything to cause them to change. They change when they are ready to change. Period. It's up to you to decide, do I want to give them the opportunity within my current life to change, in my presence to change, or do I want to sever ways and say, go ahead. Should you change one day, that's up to you. I no longer have anything to do with you. Can I tell you something really quickly as we end? I am a person who gives people chances. But once I'm done giving chances, I pray for you, go your way, and I'm going to go mine. And if you want to change and do all that, that's great. But I'm not going to be around it. I have to remove myself to protect my peace, because I'm going to be somebody who goes off, gets irritated, gets mad, gets upset. I don't need that in my life. So I'm going to remove myself and my emotions and allow you to heal, change, learn, grow, or not, all on your own. And I wash my hands of it, and I focus on what I'm supposed to be focused on. That's my confession. Thank you so much for joining me on this Love is Patient journey. during the love series. Every week, we're going to talk about something different. And I promise you, as I'm giving you these words, they're boomeranging back to me and sitting within my ears, my mind, my heart, and my spirit. We are going to be better, and we are truly going to have real love in our romantic relationships and marriages. Amen. Remember, do what you love what you do, and always keep God first. And I will talk to you next week.